Hello, this is Mel. I'm just getting back from the trial down there in Pensacola, Florida, witnessing the injustice against Kent Hovind. And we had about a good maybe 50 to 60 Christians, maybe a little bit more, show up from all over the world. The vast majority of them were from around the country, though very few, only a handful were right there in Florida. And even though around that particular area are literally probably 100 churches, it's one of the most churched areas in America. Yet a number of us called around to several of the churches in the area trying to get others to come down and support Kent Hovind. But they believe the IRS over him because, that's what we're still trying to figure out. Anyhow, I was so disappointed in it. I was deeply grieved in my heart by the lack of Christians being down there. I thought that there should have been literally thousands. I mean, here is the true warrior for the faith. He has put his neck out on the line each and every day of his ministry. He went right into the lion's den. He went to colleges all over the world. All over America. He's been to thousands of churches. All that ministry he's done. And because he uttered a sentence, the whole Christian church thinks that he's guilty as charged by the IRS. And I can assure you that nothing is further from the truth. That's why I traveled down there. I took several days off of my own personal business here. And I'm a pretty busy fella. And I wanted to witness firsthand what was going on, because what I was originally told and thought of was that Kent Hovind was convicted of tax evasion. Again, no, not true. He was actually convicted of structuring. These are laws to bring in corrupt drug dealers, money launderers, any kind of wicked type of unclean money. That you would get. Not the money like Kent gets, though. The kind of money he was receiving was the kind of money that was donated by Christians around the country, around the world, really, to him and his ministry to further it, because he was such a powerful spokesman for the Christian faith and a workhorse like hardly seen. Yet when these charges were brought against him, and the Nazis in their SWAT team kicked in his door, drug him out of the house in the middle of the night with AK-47s or whatever guns they're using. Him and his little, 100-pound wife on a nightgown, wouldn't even allow her to put on clothing, treated them as though they were gang members, with violent, narcissistic means and attitudes, when, again, nothing farther from the truth could be. And the Christians just basically said, he must be guilty. I mean, look what he said on that videotape, that it's, that all, people don't have to pay all these income taxes. It is voluntary. And then he said, they always miss this part, but you need to pay Caesar what's Caesar. You can look into this thing your own. And off of that statement, they have, the Christians, that is, the Christian ministers, Christian leaders, have decided that Kent Hovind is guilty as charged. As a matter of fact, we had spoke to a couple of pastors, and at least Rudy did. He actually got through to two, I believe. None of them returned my calls. Nobody returned any of my calls or any of my emails asking for help, asking them just to take a moment and research. There's some excellent videos on YouTube that help to explain exactly what happened and how what this is illegal and unjust, because there's this document that we have, and it's called the Constitution. And in that Constitution, there's a Bill of Rights. And in the Bill of Rights, the very first amendment, and the Bill of Rights are rights granted by God, not by the government. These are the rights granted at birth, given to all people across all nations and all times. These are the rights that people have. Most people are not willing to fight for them, unfortunately. And so we're at where we are now. Anyways, it says that we have the right. Let me just get a second here, and I'll read it to you, so that there'll be no misunderstanding, and you'll see for yourself. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Okay, there's one small phrase in there I think that is being overlooked here. It says, the free exercise thereof, meaning that religion, in this case Christianity, especially Christianity, since the document we are referencing here is a Christian document, a holy Christian document, drawn up by Christian godly men, not by atheist, evolutionists, heathens, but by Christian people. This is a Christian document. And this document gives the free exercise thereof. And what that means is you are free to exercise your religion, which is exactly what Kent Hovind was convicted of. He was convicted of the free exercise thereof of religion. His free exercise thereof involved a ministry of debate and at colleges, speaking to Christian churches all around the country, doing more work in the schools, going to the schools like crazy, taking this message of creation to the children who are now left void of a defender, somebody who could show them that no, it's evolution that's actually stupid. It's not Christian, biblical Christianity creation account. That's not stupid. That makes a lot of sense. But the evolutionists believe we came from a rock, folks. I mean, literally, they believe we came from a rock. How idiotic is that? And Kent would really do a real superb job of mopping the floor with them. And they didn't like him too much. And he was extremely successful. Had money pouring into his ministry. His ministry was growing by leaps and bounds. He had workers in there packing tapes in and mailing them all over the world. And he had people in there working on the Dinosaur Adventureland theme park that he was trying to build and accumulate properties with the ministry money that was coming in through the donations of Christians. Clean money. The clean money. Not dirty laundry money. Clean money. And Kent was a firm believer in using cash also to pay his bills. And they would go to the bank every 10 or so days, 10, 12 days, and withdraw a large sum of money. You know, they had 40 people in that ministry, 40. And they would withdraw an amount in the $9,000 range, $9,500 range, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, sometimes more than $10,000. And when they would withdraw that money, they had no idea they were committing a crime. Believe it or not, that is the crime that they were ended up convicted of. Withdrawn clean money given to them by Christians around the world. And then the money was seized, all the properties seized. Kent Hovind's reputation besmirched. He spent 9 years almost in prison because he wasn't able to file an appeal, because the same court that convicted him had quite a history on that. You might want to take a look at the pedophiles in that court. One of them actually hung himself right here in Michigan when he was caught trying to meet up with a 5-year-old girl to rape her. Caught red-handed, hung himself in Macomb County Jail. That man was a lead prosecutor and worked on the team of Kent Hovind, and also another prosecutor, I can't remember his name. Him was involved in a child pornography scandal, wherein the judge or this prosecutor's significant other was not even prosecuted after finding all these child pornography on his computer, and which is a crime. It's a felony. He's the one who should be in prison, and the other one who hung himself, who was the ones leading the charge to convict him. That is how ironic it is right here. Yet that's not my beef right now. My beef is with the Christian pastors. I am sick to death of the Christian pastors who do not support him. That we called so many, and here's the reaction you get. Well, isn't he the guy who said you shouldn't pay taxes? And that is the amount of education they have on the matter of a brother of theirs who was accused by the IRS. Now think about that. We're talking about Satan here. The IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. I mean, if they are not Satan, I don't know what is. All the things that they steal from people and collect this money to pay for evil that goes on in our country, from the funding of abortion to the removal of God in every kind of way you can conceivably think of, the attacking of Christians. This is a persecution of Kent Hovind. It's a continuation of what was exposed even just a couple years ago there with the IRS scandal, except it continues as it has, and Christians are still being put in jail and all their property seized and taken from them. Yet, I was down there at the trial, and I witnessed firsthand what was going on. I heard all the arguments. I heard they went over the whole previous trial, and because they needed to get the context for the new trial. You see, in this trial, he was facing something like 20 to 100 years for mailing a letter, folks. The letter he was mailing was trying to save the properties that were being stolen by the IRS, where they had stolen everything else from him, his life savings, him and his wife's life savings, put his wife in jail, the most harmless women you will ever meet in your life. They put her in prison. This evil IRS, this is the evil IRS that you, Christian pastors, have listened to. You have taken the word over the IRS, over a dear brother who has proven himself in battle. By their fruits you shall know them. Well, he has a bunch of fruit trees in his yard. Bunches. And you chose to believe what the IRS had to say about it. And it is appalling, disgusting, and I am sick to death of you. When we were down at that courthouse, there's less than 70 people from all over the world or all over the country came. It would be one from here, one from there, one from Oregon, a couple from Ohio, a couple from Michigan, some from Virginia, some guys from Texas, a guy named Rudy really leading the charge on this out of Texas. Great Christian brother. And I could not stay to wait for the verdict. I had to get back home. Business was piling up, and I drove home one day early, and I didn't get to stay there when they brought out the verdict. But I heard the whole trial and everything, and then I came home and found out what the verdict was the next day. In the middle of the day, they announced it. But he was convicted of one count of criminal contempt of court. And all the other counts were hung jury, which only means that the IRS will bring the charges up again. So they've already spent like $1 million on just this new trial on Kent for literally, folks, mailing a letter to try to save his property, for putting Liz pendants, which is a notice to any buyer that there is pending litigation, that there's somebody interested in this property who thinks it's theirs, and they're going to litigate for it. So buyer beware. If you buy this, you may end up losing it, because I am going to come after it, and if I can win it in court, I will get it. That's what he did. That was his crime. And that's a crime in America, believe it or not. Yeah, and it's punishable by a lot of years in prison. As a matter of fact, you could go out and kill somebody. You could be a drunk driver in your car tomorrow and go run some little girl over with your car and squish her underneath of it, and you'd definitely be out of prison sooner than Kent Hovind would be. That's how absurd this law is. Absurdity is what it is. The judge, an evil, wicked bitch. Twice. She is the judge who ruled on him last time and convicted him, declared him a criminal organization. Keep in mind now, folks, this is a church. Ever heard of separation of church and state, the one that the liberals have used on us the last 50 years to remove God from every mention throughout our public, from the schools, funding of abortion, you name it, every evil on top of evil. They have used that separation of church and state against the Christians. Now, here's Kent sitting on the other side saying, hey, wait a minute, separation of church and state. I can't be, accountable. You can't tax a church. You can't tax a church. The definition of tax is control. The very definition of taxes are control. If you have any doubt, come on over to my business and watch me spend the next 2 months trying to get my taxes straightened out so I can send them into the government. You think I want to sit in front of this desk and do taxes for 2 months? Trying to figure out this maze? Because I am being controlled by the IRS? Churches are exempt from that. The free exercise thereof. What part of free don't you get? Kent was abandoned by the Christian church. I'm not sure if it was their fear that if they came to his defense, they would be next, or just plain ignorance or apathy, or whatever it was. But anyway, it's inexcusable. And the bottom line is Kent was convicted on this one charge. Now, this one charge, criminal contempt of court, they think there might be a way to overturn it. But as the last time they tried that, I wouldn't put a whole lot of, I wouldn't guarantee, there's no way that's a guarantee. Could happen, but who knows. But it has an open-ended sentence. So what that means is there's no minimum sentence and there's no maximum sentence. So the judge could literally give you 100 years for that one thing. I doubt she would do that because Kent, he's 62, so if she gave him 20, she could probably make sure he's done with by the time he gets out. He'll just be a crockety old man with a cane who can barely walk or talk anymore. So then they can let him out. Anyways, you Christian church hypocrite leaders, you guys make me sick. There's going to be a sentences of him in June. I'm not sure exact date, but there should literally be thousands and thousands and thousands of Christians down there surrounding that evil courthouse filled with pedophiles, and I'm not exaggerating. And we should be around that. We should stop business going in there. We should halt all traffic into that place, surround that building, and demand them to release Kent Hovind. This is absurd, and it is embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to me that you guys did not come to his defense. Not one Christian church showed up. And Kent Hovind has ministered to thousands of them. Thousands. Now you think about that. That's an embarrassment on you. And I just kept thinking of this one verse on the way home. This one verse. I was in prison and you visited me not. I was naked and you clothed me not. I was hungry and you fed me not. And I think you know the rest. That's what I kept thinking about. Where are our Christian churches? Where are our brothers in the Lord? 50 people, man, 50 to 70 people on a famous evangelist could only muster 50 to 70 Christians. Are you kidding me? That is an embarrassment. There's literally 100 million Christians in this country, supposedly. I don't know what is going on out there, but hopefully God will wake you up. You are an embarrassment. You did not show up. You did not help in a time of great need. And may God judge you for that.